Onaku. Oh.
Okay, we are live.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Walt's Vault. Oh, you know what we didn't do? I just realized this. Oh, that just popped into mind.
Introduce yourself
Yeah,
first.
I gotta introduce myself. Artie Bear here. How are you guys? And with me is Taylor Grosso, and we're gonna talk for the next hour or so about Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland. It's going to be open later this month, and the one in the summer, which is opening in the Florida parks. I believe that's going to be in the Disney Hollywood park. So, having said that, I just stumbled all over the intro. When is this park going to open? That's one thing we didn't do the research for. It's later this month.
Yes, this park is opening May 31st.
Is it the 31st? Okay.
So that is apparently when it will be open, not quite to the public, but to the people with the reservations.
Okay. Yeah, gosh, that just popped in my mind. I panicked at the beginning there.
Yeah, we didn't look into it. Like, we should have had it queued up because it is kind of the most important piece of information.
Yeah, sometimes it's the obvious thing that you overlook, and that's the main reason we want to do this, is because we are winding down to the opening date, and I think they've already had press passes or press days, I guess, to come in and view the park. And various people have been invited to see the new Galaxy's Edge. So do we have that overhead photo?
We do. This is the latest up-to-date. And by the way, I'll be here reading your chat if you guys want to chime in on your thoughts on this theme park that we've been covering probably since its inception, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, for a while now. So, yeah, the lovely Taylor Grosso will be reading your chats. So if you guys can see this is the California Anaheim Park. So it's still in construction, but you could kind of see where it fits into the Disney park, and you can see the train. That's that kind of weaving S shape at the right side. That's the train trestle that goes around the rivers of America. And so just behind that is the Galaxy's Edge Black Spire Outpost. So this looks pretty amazing, and there's some fantastic footage that we have for you guys that we're going to show you. We have killer new footage of Hondo Onaku, or Anako. Is it? Wait.
I think it's
Onaka, right?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have it written down here. I was winging it, and I should have looked at my notes.
Well, maybe if they didn't give him a weirdo alien name, we'd be able to say it.
Onako. I always want to say Onako. It's Onaka. Okay, so Onaka, Okaka, whatever. So, yeah, so this is, looks like they do have the ground paved now in this photo. Because last ones we were looking at, they didn't have the paving down yet. So this is kind of a street level shot. Here's a little overhead.
You can see they still have like the construction people present, but it's come a long way.
Yeah, this is a little older because I've seen they have a fence around the Millennium Falcon now. That's the entrance. Wait, go back. That's the entrance to Rise of the Resistance.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so this is the Rebel side of the park. So there's kind of like a New Order side, and then there's a Rebel side of the park. So this is kind of more wooded, this side, and the other side's more of like a city or a town.
Which I think is a smart
idea. And so this is on that side too, and you can see that little bluish green. I think that's going to be the entrance to the city part. So I think you're going to leave the city or the shopping area, the bazaar, and then you're going to go into a little wooded strip here that's kind of framed in. And so then it will open up onto the Rise of Resistance area. So I think these areas are supposed to be partially hidden. So that's why the ships are kind of pushed back. It's kind of like if you looked from this side, you might not even be able to see the ship. You know, if you're walking towards it from the bazaar shot, you know, the Millennium Falcon side. And so I think that's what they're trying to do. But this looks amazing.
It does. Samus17 says it's going to be packed.
Oh, yeah. That right there, Taylor, I think that's the exit of Rise of Resistance.
Oh, okay.
I think you're going to come, see there's the cave here, and I think you're going to walk through it and come out the side here. So you know where that cannon was? I think that's where you're going to enter or begin. That's the main entrance. And then you're going to walk around, and then you're going to get into a loading, like a transport that's kind of behind this like fuselage or whatever it is. And then you're going to come out of this area that you're looking at now. So you're kind of going to go into the rock and then back around and then out.
Yeah, all the rides are kind of. Is this done or?
I think this is the exit. Yeah, this is the inside, I believe, of that. So there's like the door. I think that's going to be the exit.
Okay.
Of the ride.
There's an interesting point you brought up earlier that someone left the ladder there for the shot.
And there's Poe's X-Wing.
That all of the rides in this aren't, that's one of the Imagineers speaking.
Scott's our good friend. Wait, we gotta pause it. Man, we're moving too fast. So wait. Okay, freeze it and then say what you're gonna say.
I was gonna say, you mentioned earlier, which I thought was really interesting, that nobody's really brought up. All the rides in this park are hidden internally. There's no exposed rides per se.
Yeah, there's no obvious rides like when you go into Tomorrowland. There's, the astral orbiters, and there's things that look like rides and attractions. This is very immersive to the point where it doesn't look like an amusement park. It looks like you're actually there. So everything is so immersive. So like Taylor was saying, all the rides and stuff are hidden. There's no like, oh, that's a carousel or that's a roller coaster or whatever it is. So even the Harry Potter parks, which I think they're kind of making a mistake if they're going all immersive, is like there's some external roller coasters that you can see. And I think that kind of it kind of takes you away from the immersiveness of being, like walking around in the actual park.
Yeah, you don't in most circumstances, if you're going to be in that world, you don't want to see tracks and stuff that are visible. Yeah,
that makes it look like an obvious amusement park. And the 77 was that the first year the first movie came out, and then 83 was the last of the original trilogy. Is that right? I believe
so. And this is Ronto Roasters, we're assuming, right?
I think it is. I think that ship is supposed to be some kind of transport. And I believe that it's bringing in like food and supplies to the Black Spire outpost. I think that's what that's supposed to be, because I've seen like these are like little canisters or containers, and I think they come out. So I think there's like 3 little ports.
Because I thought they were doors, but they're not.
I think they're ports, because I think I've seen like there's like a. Like something that grabs it, and locks it into place. And I think I've seen those canisters scattered around the food areas. So I'm not sure, but I think that is what it's supposed to be. Everything's so immersive and story oriented. I wouldn't put it past them.
Now there's a lot of little details.
Yeah. So you don't go back. You don't see the fence yet, but I saw an update.
I don't even remember seeing this.
Yeah, I think you moved forward instead of back.
Let's see.
That's too far. All right, just start there and see. We'll just talk through. Yeah.
All these little details.
Yeah, I think that's one of the market areas. But see, right there's the photograph right there of the Millennium Falcon. There's a fence around it now. Yeah, there it is. There's a fence around, so I don't think you're going to be able to get that close up to it.
Well, they've really been hiding that, because all the photos, promotional photos, like the Millennium Falcon is just freestanding right there.
Yeah, I knew that they were going to have to build something, because people are going to be climbing on it and touching it and stuff like that.
Let's see. No hint of a fence yet when they took
Ooh,
this.
Look, I didn't see that. There's a door.
Oh, there is.
That's built into the hill.
So wait, do you enter the ride over here, or do you go in?
I think you enter back in here. So I think you come through, you walk right past the entrance here, and then you walk back into the show building. And then you do end up probably going upstairs, and those little windows that are around the Millennium Falcon, I think you're going to get to view the Falcon from there, and you walk around to where that big door is right there. And I think that door, I think you're going to be able to come out to it, because I've seen views from that section of the Millennium Falcon, and I think that little balcony area was probably created so you could get a good view of the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, because there's a lot of photos that look like they're from that point of view. It's kind of a prime spot.
Yeah, and I don't know why you would build such a detailed top of the ship if you couldn't view it. You know what I mean? Have a good view from the top.
Never Cold says, so many phallic objects. I mean, that's a staple in Star Wars design, though.
Well, just think about life.
That's true. There's like a lot, actually. And I think there's a shot. I'll try to pause it in time. So this is from those windows.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Pretty killer. Is that an engine from Ronto's Roasters?
I can't tell if this is
Or is that a pod? Is that a pod from the pod? What is that?
It's like a giant... It does look like a pod racing engine. I can't tell if it's supposed to be inside the ride or if it's in the restaurant.
Yeah, I don't either.
This, Never Cold says, so true.
Just think of... Well, never mind. I'm not going to get into it. We're here to talk about Black Spire and Galaxy's Edge.
All right.
Oh, this is the cool part. This is the Smugglers Run. So you will actually get to go on or into the Millennium Falcon, and we have been doing some research, and we have a bunch of new facts to explain to you guys about how that attraction is going to work. And like I said, we have the Hondo Anaka, like footage of the actual robot being built, and we have the Q reveal of his little show spiel. And
this is the ride you will be able to go on May, if you got a reservation on May 31st, because it's the Rise of the Resistance isn't going to be open till June, I think they said, but this is the one that will be open.
Yeah, I think it's beyond June.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nevercold says, this looks like CG. Is it legit?
This is the real ride, dude. This is not... Yeah, this is the attraction. You get to walk through this. So I think they're going to have small parties, because I think the story is going to be that Hondo... He basically puts crews together, and what he needs you to do is he needs you to fly a mission for him, because he's a smuggler. So you're going to go on a Smugglers Run. So you're literally going to get to do what the title says. And so you're going to get to use the Millennium Falcon to make your Smugglers Run. So this is part of the queue. So you will load up into the Millennium Falcon, and we not only have this, but we also have the queue where you load up into the Millennium Falcon. And I was wondering how they were going to go about doing it. And once we get to that Hondo queue thing that we're going to tease right now, I'll explain it. But this is pretty darn cool. Look, there's a blast helmet right there.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's that little ball that that Luke uses when he's practicing.
And I think the seating for each party is limited to, it was like 6 to 8 people. So supposedly when you're entering this area to wait, like Art said, there should only be 6 to 8 people in there at a time.
You know how Star Tours had that little place right in front of the door? It's really tiny, but where they kind of load off groups of people to go down the aisles, and they had that little door right in front of you. You can get to see the video screen on top of the door, and so it's like they're loading up your ship and everything like that. I believe this is going to be like that type of idea. It's going to be a small waiting queue that you're into, and then you're going to go into the cockpit area to fly on your run.
Very cool. It looks very vast whenever they show these shots of it. So
Oh my gosh, look at that. That's
I
pretty
believe
killer.
they cut it off where you can see the ground. No fence as of yet. Here. And then the rest of this is an interview where they talk about the concept. So that's...
No, I think that might be the fence right there. You could see it on the very
They kind of
bottom.
strategically hit it, didn't they?
Yeah, they're trying to make it seem like it's like there's no fence, but I think there is one now.
I think they have to have one.
Yeah, if you I don't know if you can time it. Yeah, I think this right here is the fence.
Oh, okay. So it's like a themed fence, but it's...
Yeah, but there's going to
nonetheless.
be a fence because they can't just have people going in there willy-nilly. No willy-nilly fence walking.
Everybody wants to touch the Falcon.
They probably want to break off a piece, a souvenir. So you want to get into some of the other stuff where we can get into the invite of the park?
Yeah, they just released this to the media people that they have. This is the official media invite, and apparently they did something like this for Pandora. I never watched that media invite, but let's take a look.
Yeah, let's play this. Yes, she will see me. Not on opening day, though, because I don't like crowds.
She was kind of bloodthirsty. Art pointed out we watched this. He's like, why is she smiling? Like, you hear a gunshot and then she smiles.
She wants to get into the mix. She wants to jump into the fray.
So they sent, they sent themed media invites, which is kind of cool.
Oh, you know what? Gosh, based on this, let's go out of order. Let's play the John Williams theme.
Ooh, yeah. So John Williams did the official theme song.
Yeah.
For the land.
For some reason, this feels more organic. Let's do it.
Play a little bit of it.
Crank that to 11. So you guys will get to hear this while in the park.
Good footage, too.
That's the Florida one. That's Florida, too. All I keep hearing is that Hammond from Jurassic Park. We spared no expense. While you're drinking your blue milk. And the dinosaurs are running amok.
Ooh, that's next.
Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh.
Pretty cool.
That's the California. This is the California one. You can see the Disney Hotel in the background. They built this for you, Taylor.
Finally. Oh, look at the AT-ATs.
There's the queue. Look at that. Wow.
It's not Star Wars without John Williams.
Yeah. You're going to get to hear a John Williams theme for the park. My gosh.
James says, can't wait to see Art and Tag videotape their ride on the Falcon, but will you do it in costume?
I don't think they're letting people in with costumes.
I mean, we could try. Let's dress up as Ewoks.
And then if they stop us, we're gonna go, what we have, and we'll look it up, like, because there are some people that have like grow facial hair like animals. We're saying, what, this is just
hypotrichosis.
Yeah, this is my hypotrichosis. It runs in the family.
We need the spears and stuff. I'm sure they'd take those away.
I don't know, man. They're selling actual lightsabers in there.
Pupfire really wants me to shout out Tweefitty, so this is your one Tweefitty for the whole video.
Did she give us Tweefitty?
Not yet.
Well, then we don't shout it out.
Nevercold says, dude, this looks legit. Disney can't do Star Wars movies, but man, their theme park attractions are sick.
I know, right? My gosh, I think that all the time. Every time I see this footage.
This is I'm more excited for this than the new movie coming out.
I am too. Okay, so then you want to get into the reservations?
Yeah, so reservations were already open. They were actually open. They kind of kept it on the DL, but it was on May 2nd.
Yeah, we tried. I'm sorry, guys. We tried to get this knowledge out, or we planned on getting this knowledge out before then. But things being what they are, we couldn't. We failed you, so.
Well, not very. Apparently, it was super limited. You had to already have an account on Disney's website. But if you got it on May 2nd, you got your reservations. Apparently, you will have a 4-hour window to visit the park on the 31st. So we didn't really know previously they were going to limit the time, but we kind of theorized. I think you theorized it super early on they were going to have to. So that is the main rumor right now. It's practically confirmed that there will be 4-hour windows for you visiting.
They said that you're going to be on the honor system. I don't know how they're going to enforce this. 4 hours on the honor system, there's going to be people that are going to spend way more time than 4 hours there. So, especially if the line for that Rise of, at the Smugglers Run, I mean, is going to be like an hour to 2 hours. Like half your time there is going to just be waiting to get on the ride. So that's going to be, you know what I mean? 4 hours sounds like a long time, but it really, I don't know. Do you think?
I think you're right. I think if you actually want to go on a Smugglers Run, which I'm assuming you will, because this will be your first chance to really get on there early. And they're probably counting on most people wanting to go on that. But yeah, that's going to be at least an hour or more spent of your 4 hours.
It's going to be It's going to be 2 hours. It's going to be at least 2 hours, the line.
But we also don't know how many people are going to be allowed in.
That's true too. I don't know how they're going to do that. Is there somebody going to be there and go, well, what's your time frame, right? Because it's going to be, probably from 2 to 6 or something like that. That's your 4 hours, right?
And I think they haven't
a fast pass or something, right?
I think so. And I think you theorized, God, really early that they might use some kind of colored wristbands. I don't know how else they would do it. Because if there really is an honor system, nobody's going to leave that place.
I have a feeling it'll probably be your registration reservation ticket, and it will probably be color coded and have the hours on there. And I imagine you're going to have to show that to get in, because I can't see how else they're going to do it.
James says, I think it feels like they're being too greedy, like turning a theme park ticket into a parking meter.
Well, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to figure out how to get people in and out of that section versus just it becoming a traffic jam, because if they just let people in initially, it's going to be a nightmare. So I think they're trying to figure out how to have people come in and have a good experience and then leave, because the worst thing would be if that thing was bumper to bumper, wall to wall, shoulder to shoulder. I don't think you're going to have a good experience. So I think they're going to have to limit people. And also there's laws. Like you can only have so many people per square footage.
That's right.
And things like that. So I think it's their way of trying to control the situation. I would imagine after the first year, they won't have to worry too much about this, once the newness is worn off. But I think probably the first 3 to 6 months is probably going to be pretty nuts. I imagine.
Which is why I think it is a good idea to limit it for like the first month or like the first opening. So that way, if there are people who are like purely looky-loos, maybe if this stuff starts getting out, it'll lessen how many people. I don't know.
I think it'll make those people that do have the reservations, it'll give them a better experience. Because if they just let people in, I think it's just going to be a nightmare. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be there in the middle of summer sweating shoulder to shoulder and not being able to see anything or do anything just because there's so many people.
But the mobile app is apparently going to be a huge part of the park. We covered it in the last Walt's Vault, how it kind of gives you an immersive experience. But if you want to save time in your reservation, you can also do mobile ordering for food. So you can order food in advance if you want to eat at Ronto Roasters and all that in the park.
Especially if you have 4 hours, that's really going to come in handy. Hey, let's tease that Hondo behind the scenes kind of making of.
Yeah, check this out, you guys.
Yeah, we've showed this before, but I thought this would be fun to show some of the behind the scenes of building this robot. I'm a big robot guy. I love robots, and this is a God. What do they call those?
Audio animatronic?
Yeah, but they have tiers of them. Like this is like T1000 or whatever. They have different tiers of mobility and quality of the robots, and this is like top tier.
Yeah, wait till you see the full range of movement that they gave this guy. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, so that's a little tease, and that's nothing compared to what we're going to show you guys later. So we kind of have a checklist, and we're trying to move along because there's so much stuff. This is probably like 3 Walt's Vaults crammed into one.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. You want to get into the hotel?
Yeah, so this is a brief mention, but this is sparking a lot of theories. Because there is, of course, the hotel. We haven't been covering it as closely. Probably after this, that'll be one of our other focuses.
Probably because we're Californians and the hotel is in Florida.
Yeah, it feels very distant to us. As things slow down with this news, I'm sure there'll be a lot to cover because they've been keeping things under wraps about this Star Wars hotel for a while. But in a recent interview with a major Imagineer, I guess, and this is on amp.com, CNN, the interviewer asked, like, is there anything you can tell us about the Star Wars hotel? And he said, I can tell you it's not a hotel. Interviewer asked, okay, what is it? And he says, think of it as a sister project in Florida. At that experience, we're going to invite you to spend a couple of days in a Star Wars story. In a focused Star Wars story that takes place over a couple of days. More on that to come.
I heard somebody explain it this way. Is you know how you have cruise ships and you go to a destination? I heard it explained like it's a cruise ship because from what I hear, you're going to be like the elevator is like a loader and you're going to be loaded into a ship. So it's not going to be like a hotel. It's going to be like a transportation. So from what I hear, all the windows are going to be like you're out in space and things like that. So it's going to seem like you're going to a destination. And what I'm hoping is, you know how there's ports of call when you're on a cruise ship? I believe that what one of the ports of call is going to be is it's going to be Black Spire.
That's clever.
Yeah, and so the hotel experience is going to be fully immersive. The only thing I heard that's a drawback from what I thought the original hotel experience was going to be is that you go right from the hotel into the park. What I've heard now is there's going to be some kind of transportation that possibly the hotel isn't quite as close to the park as once was rumored.
Yeah, because the rumor was you would just basically walk through and have a seamless, immersive experience from the hotel to the park, was the theory.
Right, kind of like, what is it, the Wilderness Lodge or whatever. What is the one here, the Hotel Californian? It's called the Californian, right?
It's like the Grand Californian or something?
Yeah.
That place is cool.
Yeah, and you can enter California Adventure right from that hotel. Like there's a door and you can walk right into the park. So I thought it was going to be something like that. But from what I heard recently, there's going to be a transport from the hotel to Black Spire. If they keep it in theme, and as long as it's not like Disney buses or something like that, it could be cool, because I'm just thinking now, if you're supposed to be on a giant transport, right, and you can see the hotel, that's going to blow the experience. So I think the hotel has to be far enough away from Black Spire to where you can't see it. Because if you could see it, it seems like it would blow the experience, right?
This is also starting to feel a lot like LARPing for normies. Because if it's like, oh, the Star Wars Hotel has its own story and all this, it's like, I don't know, it's almost like weird mainstream LARPing on like a very high-end scale.
Well, from what I heard, I don't know how I feel about this because I'm not a dress-up guy, but that you can dress up. So you can... in the hotel, you can't go in. I don't believe you can go into the park like that. And the reason they do that is because they don't want kids walking up to people thinking that they work there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, those people can do, bad things to kids. And so that's why Disney's not letting people in the park dress up. But if you're all in the hotel... and I imagine they give you the costumes or you rent them. So then it will seem like it's all in theme, and, hotel has more controlled security and things like that. So it might be a different experience. But I do believe that at first I thought that transport thing was going to be a bad idea from hotel to the park. But if it's in theme, it seems like it might work out better, because then they can hide the spaceship that you got out of. So all they have to do is make like a cool exit and then hide it in trees or something like that, like natural foliage, and then just have some kind of ground transport that takes you to Black Spire, and then you won't be able to see your giant space shuttle that you were on, because then it won't. If it's going to be all immersive, if you just get a glimpse of a hotel, it's going to blow the whole experience.
Yeah, it won't work. I think that does sound plausible.
Yeah. Because I believe it's going to be close to Black Spire, the hotel. But if it's too close, I think you'd be able to see it from, Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, and I don't know how much they're going to theme the exterior of the hotel. We don't really have any word on what it's going to look like from the outside.
Well, this is... I haven't seen footage or anything, but this is what I believe it's going to look like. I believe it's going to look like a port.
Okay.
It's going to look like you're getting on a ship. Like we have ports here, when you get on big cruise ships. I believe it's going to be like that. So it's docked, and then you're going to take an elevator up to your ship. So it's going to be some kind of like transport up to your ship that's probably overhead or something like that you can't see.
Ooh, that's cool.
Maybe even like a Star Trek experience, where you're, somehow you're transported into the ship. And I'm not sure if the ship is already kind of in outer space or if it's going to be in like low orbit or what it is. But I believe that you're going to check in at the port, and then you're going to take some kind of elevator, and it's going to be like a simulator that you're going up to the ship itself.
That's a really cool idea. James Hayes says, how many theme parks are now using phone apps to enhance the experience? I don't know, actually. I don't know if Harry Potter does something similar, right? Like they have like spells and stuff. It's not like a mobile app. You use like the wand to interact.
Yeah,
with
I think it's the wand. I don't think it's your phone.
Which is, I thought, kind of neat. This is the only one I know of that has like an app to this degree that kind of interacts with a story.
Right, and that girl that we showed, the Resistance fighter, I almost guarantee you that you're going to be able to hack into telecasts, or what do they call those? Like where they're talking to each other. So you're going to be able to hear and see different rebel fighters and stuff like that, similar to what we saw there. I don't think that's just for advertising. I think you're going to see stuff like that with your app, which is going to be so freaking cool.
Never Cold says, damn, Art, you've been studying this like crazy, it seems.
I didn't even know how much I knew until I start talking about it. Yeah, it's nuts, right? I'm a big Star Wars fan and a big Disney person, so this is pretty cool. So I just want to show them the Hondo.
Yeah, it's time.
No, it's not. We've only been talking for a half hour. We gotta talk about more. Well, is this the Coke thing? We can talk about that real quick.
Oh yeah, all the themed. They have themed beverages and food, so you can get your Coke, Sprite, and I think it's Dasani water, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can get them in theme.
Yeah, they're like little Star Wars grenades.
Yeah, they look like thermal detonators, actually.
I so want them to be aluminum, but I think they're plastic.
I think so too. I wish they were aluminum.
That would be so cool. Have you seen like, God, was it Budweiser? And there were some other like domestic beers that had aluminum bottles.
Oh yeah, I've seen those.
Those things are badass.
They're little too. They're like can size.
No, they're like regular bottle size, but they're aluminum.
Oh really? Maybe not. I'm thinking of like this. I picture them small for some reason.
Because I don't like drinking out of plastic, but aluminum holds the cold, like glass does.
Yeah.
So it stays cooler, and the drinking experience for me is better out of aluminum or glass.
This Imagineer brought up something interesting in this interview because the interviewer asked, "How's the experience in Galaxy's Edge different from anywhere else in the Disney parks?" And he said, "Disneyland is the park that Walt Disney himself oversaw personally and built. He created this. You can kind of think of it as the world's first virtual reality. He created these environments that you could walk into, believe you were in these places, whether it was some tropical jungle or the Wild West, or some kind of futuristic world tomorrow. He built these places, invited you to step into them, meet the characters who live there, and pretend. I think what we've built with Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is so far the best example, the largest, and the most detailed example of what Walt set out to do with the original Disneyland that we've done yet to date."
Yeah, this park is going to set the high bar for all parks that are going to come, because this is fully immersive. This is, Taylor, we are one step away from, dare I say it, Westworld.
Ooh.
Like this is some crazy stuff, because from what I hear, there is a what do they call those, where you can negotiate.
Like a barter place, right?
Yeah, with an audio animatronic, and I think it's interactive, so you can talk to it, and you can barter for whatever your purchases are. So, we're steps away from that, and also from what I hear, that Chewbacca is going to make appearances on top of the Millennium Falcon. So he's going to be doing some, I guess, last minute fixes and stuff like that. So before we get into the Hondo queue entrance, which it's amazing, you guys. Stay tuned. Don't check out, because this is going to blow your freaking mind. Everything we've talked about so far is nothing compared to what we're going to show you and how the queue is going to work. It's utterly mind-blowing. So Taylor wanted me to bring up Star Tours because we were talking about this when we're working, you guys. We're working on black and white on our comic and our different creator enterprises that we're doing. Our little Disney here at Hack Studios.
Mini
Disney. We have aspirations and dreams, much like Walt Disney. And so it's Star Tours. Star Tours in Tomorrowland is obsolete. It's the rise of, or the Smugglers Run is going to be a simulator ride, and I think it's going to just blow Star Tours out of the water. So I think Star Tours is going to start looking like the redheaded stepchild.
Definitely.
To the park, and also thematically, it doesn't work anymore. So why don't you? I've been talking a lot. Why don't you explain what we were talking about?
Yeah, we talk about this a lot, like Art said, and I think Star Tours exists in a very strange space now that Star Wars Land exists, where it almost hurts the immersion to have a separate attraction built on that in a different place, if that makes sense. And at first we were thinking it might help traffic in some ways, because the people who can't get into Star Tours want a Star Wars fix might go to Star Tours to kind of curb the craving, I guess. But it does exist in a very strange manner in the park now that they do have this land, and it doesn't quite fit anymore into
the theme.
Yeah.
And also, the reason I don't think they've closed it yet is because fan outcry would be insane.
Oh, yeah.
People would be so upset. However, once they go on the Smugglers Run, it's going to change expectations, and it's going to, make people like, well, Star Tours, if we can go on it, we'll go on it. It's not going to be like a destination like maybe it once was. So there's still going to be some nostalgia. But what I believe they're going to do, since it's a simulator ride and they can trade out these films and the immersion aspects of it, like the queues and stuff, fairly easy. What I would love to see happen, and Disney does this a lot, where they'll repurpose rides or change rides, but the new ride will kind of pay homage a little bit to the old. Do you know in the queue, Taylor, in Star Tours, the old that little mechanism for the Monsanto's mission to inner space or journey into interspace is there?
I never noticed that before.
Yeah, and part of the queue, there's a piece of the queue in the loading area that is still there from the original attraction. So they do kind of pay tribute to past attractions. So what would be very easy, and since I don't think they're going to do this, theme it out with Ant-Man, because it's also going to get into some theming problems, because they're going to have the Marvel Land in California Adventure. But it'd be cool to turn that back into a kind of shrinking ride, to where they could do something like Ant-Man, some kind of like journey, like adventure, where you shrink down and go on to an adventure. And it would pay tribute to the original ride that was there before Star Tours. And personally, I'd like to see them theme it like Ant-Man, because Ant-Man also, there's transportation vehicles like we saw in Endgame.
Right.
And stuff like that. So they can very easily load you up into some kind of vehicle that you're going to go on this journey. And, they have the quantum realm and all that other stuff where they could very easily have you go on this adventure. Correct
me if I'm wrong, but does Tomorrowland still have that Tony Stark attraction, or is that gone?
It's gone. Yeah.
Darn it.
That's something Star Wars oriented. Like It's basically a promotion area for Star Wars, like the movies and stuff like that. And that's where they had the miniature for the
that's right,
for Black Spire, the Galaxy's Edge. Yeah. So anyways, that's kind of a side note, but I do believe that and just you guys prepare. I believe that probably within the year that Star Tours is going to go away. It just doesn't make any sense anymore.
Yeah, it feels like a inferior product to, and I love Star Tours, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of you guys are saying you really like Star Tours in the chat. There's no debate about that. It's a great ride. But in comparison to something like Smugglers Run, which seems like a more immersive, improved version of Star Tours, it does start to feel a little obsolete, and it really starts to feel out of place due to its location.
Yeah, because if Black Spire is supposed to be an immersive place, like a destination, right, that you're supposed to go, and the way it's built, you can't see any of the rest of the park. Like Disney, they try to do that with each one of the lands, like where you kind of are immersed in the lands. Mm-hmm. But each one of those lands, they open up on other parts of the land. You know what I mean? Like you can see Fantasyland from Tomorrowland and vice versa. You can see, Frontierland from New Orleans Square and things like that. But the thing about Galaxy's Edge is you're going to be able to see the mountainscape, the spires. But that just kind of adds to the depth of the Rivers of America and the Frontierland experience. It just adds to it. It doesn't detract. And the way you go into Black Spire is through tunnels underneath the train track, the trestles. So it had three entrance points, but it doesn't open up in a wide area into the rest of the parks. They're like little tunnels that you go through. So they're not like big open areas, so you will not be able to see that park from any other location in the Disneyland, park itself.
And I think that's why it is situated in an interesting way, where while the park was being built, there were people like Fresh Baked and a lot of other people that were getting some footage, some really good footage of the park being built, and it is hard to get a good look into it without being beyond that wall and being inside of it. Like, it really is situated in a very hidden manner where, of course, you can see, like you said, you can see the spires and stuff, but they kind of increase the landscape, and you can't see any of the pure Star Wars-y stuff inside unless you're in the park.
Right, yeah, you really can't. So they've done a good job with that. So it is going to feel totally like you're separate from the park. So the Star Tours, sadly, I believe personally, I haven't read anything, but I think it's going to go away. And I'm just saying this to try to prepare myself because I do love the ride, and it's still mind-blowing to me. It's even more mind-blowing. I saw a documentary on the making of, and the original Star Tours was still filmed like the original trilogy was. So those are all in-camera effects. It's absolutely mind-blowing that, when you go through that, Taylor was talking about the other day, when you go through that snow area and you hit that, like...
The ice in the space?
Yeah, in space and stuff like that, and it shatters and goes over the window. That's all, those are practical effects. Those are not computer effects.
And that's why I think it feels and looks like the original Star Wars, especially in that particular part. It really feels like the old movies.
Yeah, it's not digital. And also, those guys, I heard them interviewed, and they said it was almost more of a challenge than Star Wars itself because it has to be a continual movie.
That's right.
There's no edits. It's like a continual flow. So this is non-digital. So how do you edit that together? How do you basically film a bunch of scenes and then make them seem flawlessly connected as one journey?
And according to Samus17, thanks, by the way, for the tip, you can watch the original... Star Tours Run, the one that we're talking about on YouTube. Someone's uploaded the full thing. So when you're done watching here, don't leave yet. Definitely go watch it and you'll see kind of what we're talking about.
Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing, the amount of work. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from CG and digital, but when you have to actually film something and make it work in 3D in three-dimensional space, that's got to be a challenge way beyond computers.
Oh, continuously, like you're saying? Yeah, like no cuts. It's very difficult.
There's scale and there's lighting. There's so much that goes into those guys are genius. I was just, this is another side note, you guys. I was just thinking about this. You know how Lucas with the original trilogy went into like digital realm and kind of brought it up to like a director's like version? I was thinking all those guys that painstakingly did all those effects in camera, those guys aren't part of Star Wars history anymore because
that's a big FU when you think about it.
It kind of is. Yeah.
I figured out how to somehow film this ship going into this other one all in-house in camera, and then you just got rid of it.
I filmed entire dog fights with like basically model kits, like, and everybody was like, wow, that's cool, that looks real. Like, they actually hand drew all those lasers on the film itself.
You cut out my puppet scene to put in a digital frog? How dare you?
Like, this is, it would be a personal affront, man. I'd be so upset.
It would hurt, for sure. Especially, like you said, they're cutting those things out, trying to figure out how to put them in there, and it's like, it'll look better with this digital laser. Like,
yeah, all the lasers are hand drawn on the actual film itself. Like, the painstaking hours and hours of doing this. Also, this is film. Like, if you destroy this, there's no...
It's gone.
It's gone. It's gone. Like, they were talking about, like, I'm sorry, you guys, I'm going off on a tangent, but this stuff I find just fascinating, where they would have lights in these ships, Taylor, and they would only have so many hours to film. And if they went past the hours, those lights would get so hot, they would actually melt those ships. They actually had, like, actual fires, like miniatures catching on fire because of the filming.
Sucks.
Yeah, it's insane. And I found out, like how they have those sparks and stuff hit the camera. Oh, you guys, I'm sorry. I've done so much YouTubing lately. Is that they have...
Nevercold says, your tangents are great, Art.
Oh, thank you. They have, like, the camera underneath the explosion. So they have the explosion overhead and they have the camera under, like on the ground basically. So when these explosions happen, it's gravity fed. So all the explosion goes towards the camera. Have you ever wondered like how they make it look like it shoots right at the camera?
Yeah, I guess they really could.
That's how they do that. Well, if they did it just like if they shot it like just normal eye point of view over
drop
at the explosion, it would still be gravity fed, but it wouldn't necessarily come right at the camera.
That's a pretty cool idea.
This is a guarantee that it'll come at the camera, these pieces and stuff like that. They showed one of the ships crashing. They showed it all done with miniatures. It was insane. These pieces coming out and flying at you and stuff. I'm like, man, this is nuts.
I would love to like watch a director's cut where it just jump cuts back and forth from like them zoomed out using the miniatures and then showing the final product. So it's like this crazy dogfight, and then zoomed out, it's like a guy just trying to use it with the tiny models. Like,
there's documentaries like that, Taylor, because also they have to film the miniatures at high speed. So the high speed allows them, when they slow it down to normal, those things have epic scale, because if they filmed it at normal speed, it would look exactly like what it looks like.
It's all herky-jerky and like...
Well, it looks like a little model. You know what it looked like? You know that what was that Super Marionation where those
like the Thunderbirds
and stuff? It would look like those ships.
Those ones were clearly like, that thing looked like it was on strings at times. It would just like slowly, listlessly come into frame.
Yeah, they'd be radio controlled ships and stuff, but they were still moving at like normal speeds, so they looked really, the scale didn't look epic or anything. It looked pretty cheesy, but that stuff has its own charm. But anyway, Hondo Ohnaka.
Yeah, let's
should we do this?
I think it's time.
All right, you guys. Okay, alert your friends, your neighbors. This is groundbreaking. This is amazing. This is stunning. This is mind blowing. Let's do this.
Yes. Hello, my friends. I am Hondo Ohnaka.
Okay, pause it.
This is Ohnaka
This is not an actor, you guys. This is a freaking robot, man. That's a robot. Okay, go ahead.
Solutions. Today, I am offering the opportunity of a lifetime. I need flight crews to transport this valuable merchandise across the galaxy. Pilots to navigate, engineers to operate the ship, and gunners to defend the shipments. And that is where you come in.
Wait a minute. Did they show the queue? Oh, they didn't show the queue. Oh, that was another video. Oh, no. I teased this. I thought they backed off the queue. Okay, so you guys, you can just play it while I talk over it. I'll explain the queue. We'll have to do another video. Because right behind him is the docking bay for, get this, the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, that's right.
So you're underneath him. The queue is underneath, and there's some droids that are scattered about. So this is just before you enter the Millennium Falcon. So what there is behind him, there's a giant opening, and it's going to be a screen. But the screen is them, because when you get into the queue, the Millennium Falcon is outside.
So that's probably what's right here. They look like big windows.
These sparks and stuff,
him.
yeah. So what they're doing behind while you're in the queue is they're bringing the Millennium Falcon into this hangar. So I don't know why you would want to bring it into the hangar, but they're bringing it into the hangar, and you're going to get into the Millennium Falcon from this hangar that this Ohnaka is talking to you from. So it's going to be very, very cool. So there's going to be a ramp behind you, and it's going to be similar to the ramp that that you've seen in the Star Wars movies. So you're going to walk up the ramp, and then you're going to go through one of those tubes, and then you're going to go into that area where Luke was getting his introduction to the lightsaber, the one that we already showed you with the chess game and everything like that. And that's where you're going to be loaded into.
So it's an interesting way, I guess, because you see the Millennium Falcon visually outside, and then they're putting you in there. It's an interesting way to load you onto the Falcon without addressing that there's a physical ship outside, because it makes it seem like it's really, you're about to just board it.
And I think the footage that I saw, it looks like they're moving the Millennium Falcon in. I don't know why they're moving it in, like story-wise, because you have to launch it from outside. But
that's a valid point. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but
they want you to launch, I guess. So they're probably gonna, I guess, on the screen show the doors opening and everything, which is.
Yeah, or they might be trying to we're gonna smuggle stuff into it. So they might want to try to hide it so it goes back into the cave. Then they load it up, try to hide whatever your cargo is, and then they'll launch it back out through that, that part that you entered through, where the Millennium Falcon's out there in that courtyard or whatever. I'm kind of making this up. I'm speculating on this, but the cool part about the attraction itself, the Smugglers Run, is that you're going to get to control the outcome of the adventure. So if you have a really successful adventure, there's not going to be a lot of battle damage. But if there's a lot of, if the adventure goes bad and you get shot a lot, there's going to be some battle damage. So when you go out, you're also, like some of the Disney adventures, when you go out the queue isn't themed as much as the entrance was. I mean, the exit queue, or just the exit itself, I should say queue. The exit just kind of like, oh, well, now you're back at the Disney park. Well, this exit has to thematically go back into, Black Spire. It has to go back into Galaxy's Edge. So they can't just have a generic exit. So I believe that the exit is going to be themed the same way as kind of the entrance. So you're going to go down, a corridor, and then you're going to go down a ramp. So the thing about the corridor is once you come out of the cockpit, depending on the adventure you had, the cockpit, not so much the cockpit, but that exit area will show battle damage or no battle damage based on the adventure. So if you took a lot of hits and stuff like that, that exit is going to look
affected.
Yeah, like it was affected by it. So that's really cool. So there's going to be like some burns, like some explosions. There's going to be some sparks. Some of the lights are going to be blinking. So it's going to look like you actually took some battle damage. So they thought of everything, you guys. So this is going to be a fully immersive experience, all the way from the queue to the exit of the attraction itself.
And they said it will play into the, for lack of a better term, roleplay aspect of the park as well. Because if, let's say, you fail your mission, you come out, the ship's jacked up. If you're having lunch at Ronto Roasters or something, they said there might be some staff. If they know about it, I'm assuming they'll know about it via your app. They'd said that the example they used, they'd say something like, oh, I heard that Hondo's really upset that you botched that mission. Like, you're on the bounty board now. Like, they'll bring it up in interaction, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And unlike the other attractions at the Disney park, to keep you immersive, the entrance and the exit has to seem like it's part of the park. It has to be flawless. Yeah. It can't feel like you're leaving a show building. You can't feel like you went into an attraction. You have to feel like you're actually in the Millennium Falcon. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So I don't think they're going to screw this up, because one misstep is going to blow the entire immersion experience. So it's pretty amazing because I can't remember the details, but they also thought about like how you get up these ramps and stuff, Taylor, is going to be slightly different than how you would get up the actual Millennium Falcon, because it's all going to be wheelchair and handicap accessible.
That's right.
So they also had to think about how to design this stuff to get people that can't go up that steep ramp. You know what I mean? So they had to redesign the ramp from the movie, to get into the Millennium Falcon.
Because the Millennium Falcon ramp itself is like way too steep, right?
It's pretty steep, yeah. So just like little things like that they've thought about, but it's all thematic. And I wish we would have had this shot. I wish I would have thought about this sooner, because I thought it was part of this video, the one that we just showed you. But that queue that Anako is in, or Anaka, It's massive. Like, because behind you, that opening, that's the Millennium Falcon back there. So the scale of it is pretty massive.
So do you think that what he's standing in front of, is that door that we see at the front of the Millennium Falcon that's kind of facing the Falcon? Is it supposed to look like that?
I think you're pretty deep into the building at this point, so I don't think you're going to have any landmarks other than what's behind him in that screen.
Okay.
That might be opened to Black Spire. Might. I'm not sure. Like I said, I only saw like a quick shot of it, and it looked like the Millennium Falcon was moving kind of backwards into, almost like it was being loaded in to this space. So the space has to be massive because the ship itself is massive, so it has to give you the feel of, you know what I mean, scope and size.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyways, you guys, that was our little teaser. God, we should get paid by Disney. I mean, we just majorly
Where's
promoted.
our press pass?
I know, we just majorly promoted their park here. So are we still sure of the 31st, so the end of this month?
So the end of this month is when it opens to the people with the reservations. Supposedly you'll have a 4-hour window, so make sure that you get those food reservations if you want to get stuff early. Do that on the mobile app. And then to the general public, I don't think it's opening till June. It was like June 20th or something. I'll have to look into that date, but I do know that the 31st is when people with reservations are allowed into the park. So we'll probably get a lot more news once that happens, because I'm sure footage is going to start pouring in at that point.
Well, it would have to be, June would have to be part of the reservation. How long is the reservation period for?
I don't know how long it's for.
It's not just for one day, right?
I actually think when you have a reservation, I think your reservation is on a particular day.
Right,
So-
but I mean, it's not just like one day that they're bringing people in with reservations. It would be like for weeks, right? Or a month.
Yeah, I believe that it's for the month, because I'm trying to find when it actually goes, because I don't know when it opens to the public, and I think they still might be limiting it when that happens.
Well, you said June, but if it's May 31st, then June is the next day. So that's why I'm
Well, I think it was like June 20th. I have to look into it, actually, because I know the one in Orlando doesn't even open till August 29th.
yeah.
But I guess the reservations, June 23rd. Okay, so the Disneyland Star Wars, the one that we have here, it's going to be May 31st through June 23rd is the reservation period time.
Okay, so pretty much a month.
Yeah, so June 23rd is when the general public will be allowed to get in there. But, just ticket holders on that June 24th, be there, be prepared to try to book way in advance if they're even available, because a lot of people are trying to book it through the hotel, because I guess those are the only way to guarantee that you'll have some kind of reservation time to get in.
Right.
So if you really want it, you might have to go through the hotel.
And all the prices of the hotel, I guarantee you, are probably at max rate right now.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, I think we're coming in on our hour. So thanks for hanging out with us, guys. God, when do you think you're going to venture foot into Galaxies?
I don't know. Probably at least. What, do you have a time period that you're thinking of allowing?
I don't. I think I'm playing it by ear to see how everything goes. Because being a native Californian and only being like 20 minutes away from the park, I'm not in a quick, big hurry because of the crowds. So I think I would rather go on like off months, maybe like October, November.
That's a good idea.
And go. The only reason I want to go sooner is because on the non-peak hours, a lot of the little extras aren't available.
Yeah, that's the thing. And we had a theory before that little things in the park, like Art brought up earlier, that they were probably going to have Chewbacca on top of the Millennium Falcon stuff. That really is, we're kind of theorizing stuff that's not going to be there all the time. It's those little things that happen when these things are, when like these parks are fresh, like that I feel like you're going to miss out on if you don't go there during its first run. Because that stuff gets phased out pretty quickly.
Right, because just like case in point, the Indiana Jones adventure, they used to hand out, I have one still, like these cards. They're like business cards, and they're slightly laminated, or they have plastic on them so they can wear a little bit. And that's a decoder. It's a decoder card. So all those like little runes and those little markings in the cave, those are letters.
Oh, that's cool.
Those are words. So with your decoder, you can find out what they say. So, like they used to, that one where the spikes come down that room?
It's in the tunnel, right?
In the tunnel, in the queue. Those spikes used to move. Because if you stepped, there was actual, like, if you stepped on this certain rock, it would depress, is that the right word? It would go into the ground, and then it would activate those spikes to come down, and it would actually impale one of those skeletons.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then it was like deemed way too scary, so they shut that down. So these are the things that are like, those cards that you could read, the warnings that were carved into the walls, and also like that interactive cue that those spikes would come down. Those went away. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that are there for the first couple months, and then they realize that they're not going to work.
Long term, yeah.
Yeah, and then they close down. So that's the only reason I want to go sooner, is there's going to be stuff that's going to be, like the grandiose ideas.
Test run.
Yeah, and then they're going to realize the practicality of it isn't going to be functional on a regular basis, and then they close it. So
those are the best things, though.
I know, that's why I want to go early. I don't know.
Maybe we can find a day. There has to be a way.
We'll figure out something. But I'm going to play it by ear. Is that what you're going to do as well?
Yeah, likewise. I don't have any set plans or any strategy. I was pretty gung-ho when we first started making it that we were going to make it during the reservation period. But considering the reservations sold out within 20 minutes, there was like no possibility anyway.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe, having said that, if I don't go to San Diego Comic-Con this year, I might have Galaxy's Edge money.
That's not a bad idea.
Because this is definitely going to be like a Comic-Con experience.
Oh, yes. That's actually a good comparison. Nevercold says, thanks, Art and Taylor. This was really fun and informative.
Oh, you're welcome. You are so welcome. This was a blast for us as well. So we should wind down. So that's it for this Walt's Vault.
And we'll probably have more news soon. I'm sure stuff's going to start pouring in once the public has access to this park.
Yes. So you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.